moving away from Sydney, packing their bags and moving towards Queensland or
Yeah.
towards Victoria, especially those two. Um, it's been a very common thing, and I think we're only going to be seeing more of that due to and how we were speaking about it off camera before with all the connectivity and the accessibility coming to these other pockets throughout Australia. I think it's only going to get higher because as time goes on, there's going to be less and less difference between Sydney and these other smaller cities.
Yeah.
It's very easy to distinguish Sydney and to make it stand out from all the other cities at the moment. That will possibly lessen as time goes on, in my opinion. And I
Yeah.
think with that, we'll see the trend of people moving out increase as well. With that, I want to touch on a point you made as well, which was you said that you compare Sydney to somewhere like LA or New York, and I definitely agree with you. And it's funny you say that because I was literally just saying that to one of my buyers just
Yeah.
last week. Where he was saying, "Oh, surely it's not going to be like this forever, and surely prices are going to come down, and things are going to become a lot more affordable," you know. And I'm like, that's not necessarily the case, and there's no guarantee of that. We're just so accustomed and used to living in a city where we grew up, where we've seen people being able to afford houses. We've seen our parents in the past being able to afford houses when we were kids and being able to buy. And this whole tradition of buying homes in Sydney is something we've just grown up with, and a lot of
Yeah.
people haven't. And because of that, it's sort of like we by default think that it's a given and that we should be
Yeah.
able to afford things. But that's not the case. For a lot of leading cities in the world, that will never be the case. For the majority of people living in New York, for the average person living in LA, buying property is not really an option. They'll go
Yeah.
their whole lives leasing, and that's
Yeah.
normal and that's completely fine. And with those people who live in those cities, buying into, say, let's say someone who lives in LA, it's not the most unrealistic thing for him to go and buy investment properties in somewhere like Texas, where
Yeah.
property prices could be around 400, 500 USD, right? And that's exactly what's happening here. And I think we're seeing that we're seeing that new era arrive of people of younger generations who are actually preferring to, instead of investing, instead of buying, they're becoming serial leasers, and they're leasing, and they're instead using their money to
Mm.
invest in other places where they don't necessarily live. So I just wanted to touch on that point and say I definitely
Yeah.
agree
And I think
that
you
it's not.
touched on something very, very crucial, which